equity opportunity perspective for the next market cycle. This is the topic. And Mr. Shailendra Kumar, the CIO and co-founder of Narnolia Financial Advisors Limited, is going to be speaking to us today. Mr. Shailendra Kumar, like I mentioned, is the CIO at Narnolia, having over 20 years of experience in research and fund management. Mr. Shailendra Kumar holds postgraduate degrees from IIT Delhi. Under his leadership, Mr. Narnolia has developed a wide spectrum of category leading onshore and offshore investment products, ranging from both capital protection to growth oriented funds. So it's an absolute honor having you here with us, Mr. Shailendra Kumar. A very good morning and thank you for joining us today.
Hi everyone. I'm very happy to address you all today at a time when equity market, after remaining inside a kind of corrective phase for almost 2.5-3 years, has come out of that range, right? And it's very appropriate now to talk about the possible contour of the next phase and the forces that would be shaping phase, right? So let's take a recap briefly of market cycle. We all do data analysis and say that equity market in India in a long-term basis has delivered 15% kind of a CAGR, right? This is a chart of the Indian market for the last 10 years, Nifty chart. As you can see here, market doesn't give you 15% every year. It alters basically. So you got an expansion phase where you make, almost 30% CAGR for 3 years. And then in consolidation where you hardly make any money, so 0%. So this 30% over 3 years near around and 0% for 3 years near around, ultimately on a full cycle basis becomes 15% CAGR. And this is very important for you to remember. And now after being in the consolidation phase, surely the next phase already is there and we are expanding, right? So let us construct the contour of what kind of a shape of this expansion phase would be. Expansion phase, or what is popularly known as bull market. So let's look at the prior bull phases or expansion phases. So we had seen 13 to 17, Nifty gave you 100% return in about 4 years. Let's look at one prior bull cycle, 2009 and 2011. In about 1 year, 6 months, market again doubled then. Let's go back even little and look at the bigger bull cycle of 2003 and 2007. And that was really large. The Nifty, multiplied 6 times in about 5 years. Now the question is, to dwell upon is like, what this phase would be that we are entering now, or will be entering very soon. Now, before I take you through my understanding of the forces that will shape this particular phase, I'll dwell a little upon some of the very important points that as an investor, we need to be very careful about. And these are issues related to investment style. If we as an investor do not remain consistent in our stock picking, as well as tracking the portfolio, because that's the only way through which one can expect superior return in a full cycle sense, irrespective of how long or short the duration and the consolidation of or expansion phase remains. So dwell a little on investment style. Now any company scientifically on a first principle basis, when you say what is the fundamental of a stock or a portfolio, basically you are asking on 3 different parameters. What is the quality of the stock, what is the growth of the stock, and what is the valuation of the stock. So these are the 3 primary, mutually largely exclusive data parameters on which a stock is constructed. And various investment style is nothing but your orientation around these 3 variables, the quality, growth, and valuation. So some of us may be very valuation oriented, just buying a stock that is cheaper right now. Some of us may be highly quality focused, just betting on a right management and let be a good cycle or a not so good cycle and stay with those stocks. And some of us would be in a camp who are continuously looking for the next growth stock, right? Apart from these 3, pure axis, majority of us, operates in a 2-dimensional space. So we employ 2 characteristics in our investment portfolio or a style. So some of us might be, combining valuation and growth and calling ourselves GARP. And I'm not saying one style is superior to another. The idea to remember is that ultimately a style ka mamla hai, right? In our case at Narnolia, we believe and practice what we call, we operate in this quality growth plane. And the style that we call is growth in value. Now, so as we saw, we can easily visualize a stock or a portfolio based on the location of the stock in this three-dimensional space of Q, G, and V. Now, why this is vital? What happens? This is very important for you to have a disciplined approach to investing, because that's the only thing that will make you a superior return extracting out of the market. You pick a stock based upon your research suiting your investment style, but what happens is these parameters of quality, growth, and valuations are never constant. They keep on changing. We know prices changes every second, every day. You look at the screen. It's not the price which is changing, it's what the valuation which is changing, right? And you keep on getting a lot of information on the quality aspect of the business or the business atmosphere which impacts the growth. So continuously, the Q and G and V parameters are never constant. They keep on changing. So what happens is the location of the stock of the portfolio or maybe a stock keeps changing, right? So sometimes growth becomes lower, sometimes quality, valuation all becomes very, very bad. And we need to be alert observing these. We might have bought a great stock to start with, but after some time you find yourself holding too many bad stocks, hurting your overall performance. So whatever be the phase of the market, your discipline in a stock picking process, as well as your discipline in monitoring it and being active about what to keep holding and what to exit, forms the vital link to get the best out of any market cycle. And that's very critical for us. Now, let me take through the key part. The forces, those will be shaping the contour of the next expansion cycle. All the medium term, long term, the short term driver. I'll take those one by one. This rally that has started in India today, if you look very carefully, has started with zero structural compromise. And why I'm saying zero structural compromise, look at the rally which started in 2009. So we had a bad economy globally in 08, 09. We all remember that. Very similar to what we have seen this year. But remember, in 2008, what happened? Every government, including ours, pushed all the banks to give huge amount of credit. In India itself, the bank credit grew from 25 lakh to 60 lakh, almost 140%. So the bank credit was forced to move up by 140%. And what happened in that process? The incremental loan went to where? To power company, to roads, to NBFC, telecom, metals, textiles, and all, right. And today, the whole structural problem we faced over the last 5 years of NPA. So the whole NPA came from the push given in 2008, 2009. So whatever rally we saw in the last decade was based upon huge amount of structural compromise. And remember today, you don't see anything around which tells you that we are compromising on the structural base of the market, right? So this is one medium-term force which will shape the current expansion phase. Even in terms of economy, 08, 09, our forex reserve fell, but today it has only gone up, right? Let's look at a couple of direct GDP contributor parameters. All said and done, the fact is we were importing close to $90 billion of goods from China. And today, whatever be the scenario, we would be importing much less. Now, what does that mean is, in our $3 trillion economy, about $740 billion each industry. And even half of it comes back and India starts manufacturing those, is a $45 billion extra addition to our manufacturing, right? Look at another angle. Because of all the factors, now we are doing a lot of manufacturing of defense product in India itself. And that is itself 3.5 lakh crore or close to $50 billion opportunity, right? So $50 billion because of lesser import from China, $50 billion more because of the defense manufacturing here. And one very important parameter, electronic manufacturing. You will be, you must be aware about it. This is the smart part of the Indian economy right now, but very vital, because in the last 5 years, this is the only a small but very important industry which has grown at a CAGR of 27%. So this industry for last 5-6 years has grown at a rate of 30% close to. And in the next 5 years, this is going to grow even larger, almost 11 lakh crore. And that means about 5% extra to our GDP. So you saw 3 parameters, right? I spoke of China import lessening, defense production, and a tiny section right now, which is electronic manufacturing. If you add the 3 together, they have a potential to give you 7% extra kick to the GDP, right? Now, let's take another angle, long-term forces. I keep on saying there is a paradox in Indian economy. We are the 5th largest economy in the world as a country. But as a countryman, as an Indian, our per capita, we rank 139. It's a big paradox. You know, G7 country with 10% population of the world, they generate almost half of the world GDP. And we in India, with 18% population contribution, we generate only 3.5%, right? Now, how this is going to change? We all talk sometime that now the world over has shifted to digital era. So till 14th century, the world remained in an agricultural era. 1400 to say 2000, we remained an industrial society. So every country which became larger, basically we are riding the boom on industry. But after, in the last 10, 15 years, it's all about digital, right? Now, this is how it is going to help India and what kind of a multiplier impact on GDP is coming. I'll just come to that. Look at it this way. India is world's, in terms of percentage of people, Indian people, you know, we are 18% of the world. But if you add together everyone who is working in the digital ecosystem world over, 32% of us, 32% of people who are working in digital ecosystem are Indians, right? So 18% people, but in the new era, digital era has a 32% market share. You know, digital era requires huge amount of engineers. And today, every year, the number of engineering graduates out of India, if you just see this number, is higher than at China, Russia, USA together. So number of engineers that we are producing today for the world is even bigger than the 3 larger countries, you know, added together. 34% employee at Microsoft are Indian, right? In terms of, you know, remittances, if you look at, in the world, 6% migrants are Indian. But in terms of global remittances, we are number 1 country in the world, having 17% market share. Now, look at some other data, how much digital we consume in India. You all know Facebook, we got the largest audience. In the Google search, now in every year, about 1200 billion searches happens in Google. And searches out of India has a market share of 29%. So 18% population doing 30% kind of searches in Google. On Google, you go to Apple App Store, almost 1 lakh of apps are made out of India. We are number 2 in terms of app download. Even the last 6 months, number of app downloaded in health and fitness segment, India is far ahead of even US, China, all the economy. So we are number 1 in this field already, right? Another very important, you know, parameter to check is India has become the global leader in real-time financial transaction. We do almost 41 million transactions per day in terms of real-time financial transaction, is ahead of China, way ahead of US and UK. In fact, you will be surprised to know that real-time financial transaction in US is going to start next year. They started only doing some technology work in 2018 itself. They are so slow and we are so fast in adopting it. You all have heard, you know, data is the next oil. The fact is, all the bytes of data which is getting generated across the world, if you have to keep it rightly in a right data structure and run an algo on that, who is doing in the world? It's mostly India and Indians, right? Now look at the impact on GDP with all this. So that's the narrative, but what exactly, where the money lies here? So today in our economy, about $200 billion or 8% of GDP comes through digital kind of businesses. But next 5 years, the contribution of digital to Indian GDP would be 18%. So what we are talking, almost 11% extra GDP growth will come because of digital things which is happening around us. So I spoke about 4 factors, you know, less of an import from China, defense production, electronic manufacturing, and now the digital. And if you add the all together, this is basically becoming, you know, 17% extra GDP growth potential. I'll come to that again. Look at this picture. You know, we say data is the new oil. And this is a reality. It's not a narrative only. Today, India is exporting nearly close to $200 billion of export in terms of IT and other services. How much Saudi Arab does in terms of oil export? About $180 billion. So already the export, so the, I just said, it was a petrodollar earlier. Now it's a data dollar. And in the data dollar, we are far ahead of nation who were doing oil export before. And that gives you a picture of the power of what it is, right? Let's look at some of the short-term forces. I mean, a lot of talk has happened around, but the fact is in the last 3 to 4 years, debt to equity of majority Indian company has fallen. So all the companies which were highly leveraged, their debt equity ratio has fallen. So balance sheet has become better than what it was, say, 3 or 4 years back. And now, if you look at the last 2-3 quarters, the P&L is becoming better. So EBITDA margin is expanding. So you got a dual engine going on. The balance sheet has improved, and now the P&L is improving, right? Where the work is still left to my mind is Nifty has given its verdict that we are in a next zone as an economy or as a market. Nifty is trading at an all-time high, but still the bond market has not given you that kind of a breakout signal. Still the bond yield curve remains not so, it has not fallen that much. So near end, the fall has come very, very sharp, but to the middle and the far end, still there are a lot of decline has to happen. And I always have seen that these two market together, when they signal positivity, real breakout happens. So we need to, before the verdict is out, we need to be very, very watchful of how the Indian yield curve is behaving in the days to come. Concluding what I said just now, equity market has broken out of last 3-year trading range. The Nifty has broken that range where we were stuck for almost 2.5, 3 year, Nifty 10K to 12K. Briefly, we spiked little down in the month of March for about a fortnight or so. And sometime, we a little bit, went higher to 12K also. But today, we are firmly out of it. I spoke about, a style drift, and a lot of literature is around that in the longer run, what hurts our performance in equity market is not what style I have, but basically, do I do a style drift or I remain consistent to the style that I'm picking in? And it was very, very vital for you all to understand whether you are yourself a stock picker or maybe you are getting it managed through a professional like me or anyone. Thirdly, I spoke about this market rally which is happening in India is starting with a much better base than what happened in 2009. Today, the base has started with almost zero compromise, whether the bank credit in the market, whether the government finances better shape than then. And the medium-term forces that I spoke about, 4 particular angles: the Chinese-induced policy aggression, which will mean lesser import from China and manufacturing inside India. Various PLI which is happening, and one sector, electronic manufacturing, is already seen. I mean, it's not a concept paper. Already in the electronic manufacturing, our production has grown by 27% CAGR over the last 5 years. So it's a demonstrated success of Make in India and the PLI scheme, the production linked incentive scheme. So add those forces together, you got a 7% delta to our GDP. Add the digital era potential for the next 5 years, you got another 11%. So what is going to happen? In the next 5 years, say for example, our normal GDP growth rate structurally has got fallen a little. So maybe we will grow by only 4%, a very poor 4 or 5% in the next 4 or 5 years. So in the 5 year, 4 multiplied 5 is 20%, right? But you add this 18%, which is coming from digital and the other thing that I spoke about, China, electronic manufacturing and defense. So 20% will get 18% extra leg because of these 4 different issues. So what is happening? A 4% GDP growth, the worst scenario for Indian case, will not have 4% multiplied by 5 means 20%, but 38%. That means 7.5%, 8%. Naturally, FY22 will have a huge leg up because of FY21 being this bad, right? But that leg up will be structural in nature. And in the next 4 to 5 years, this is nothing a doubt in my mind that India will be the fastest growing economy, larger economy in the world, and is structurally changing because of the digital initiative. Our per capita income, which is in the dirts, we are 139th rank in the world, will improve itself. So this is a very strong base that has got built for the market for the next expansion phase to happen, and we all need to be be riding this particular thing. In the shorter term, of course, as I said, the debt market has still not confirmed the breakout, because the bond yield curve has to get little more, lesser than what they are right now. Once that signal comes, maybe in a couple of months or maybe a quarter or two, once little bit of higher inflation we are seeing gets, little bit broken, or maybe January quarter when the NPA numbers are more, quantified for all the market participants. So maybe in the first quarter of next calendar year, we will have those confirmation from the bond market itself. So in the end, this expansion phase and consolidation phase is a natural part of the market. They keep on, moving into alternate kind of a cycle. Today, after 3 years of consolidation, we are set for a next expansion period. In the expansion, all the medium-term forces there are very strong medium-term forces. So ignore the current economic gloom. There are forces which will make sure that we grow at the highest rate in the world for the next 4 or 5 years. And this is why this FII money flow and all are, what you are seeing right now in the market. Wait for a little bit more confirmation from the bond market, and then the market is basically, for all of us who are into equity investment, we surely think that we are, awaiting a very exciting time for all of us. Thank you very much.